I greet you all. My name is Mvubu. I'm a motivational speaker and I'm also an author. I have written this book. It's a self-help book. So the title is Bringing Synergy to Your Life. It's secrets to a meaningful and goal-achieving life. And I'm motivating people that in this life, no matter what happens to you, you can bring synergy to your life. You can live a purposeful life and you can achieve goals. It doesn't matter what you face in life. You can have an experience, a difficult experience of your life, like I did, but that doesn't mean you can't achieve what you want to achieve. So in my life, while I was 21 years old, I got married. Marriage is beautiful. I loved marriage and I stayed with my partner for 10 years. But in the process, we had our own issues. And at 31, we had to part ways. And in this regard, it was a divorce. Divorce is painful. Divorce is devastating. I felt it. And in the process, when I left my matrimonial home, I lost assets. And at that time, I had to rebuild my life. And together with my ex-husband, we have 2 children, boys, and having to be a single parent. And at the time, I did not have anything. It was devastating. I had to go back, stay at the back room or the boys' rooms of my mom. The situation was very challenging to me, having to know that I had some things that I worked hard for, and at the stage I don't have anything. I then had to make choice. There were 2 choices that I had to choose from, whether to leave myself at that stage or to pick myself up. It was not an easy choice to make, to pick myself up. It was painful. I had to get support system for me to be able to stand and be myself again. And at that time, I had to write goals and check what I want to achieve in life. I had to look at the vision of my life. I had to look at my values. I had to look at my strength, weaknesses, the opportunities around me, and also threats that were around, and rebuild my life. And at that time, I had to re-establish a relationship with my life. All those, I have included them in the book. So that process itself helped me to understand myself better and had focus. So in that process, I had to know what I want to achieve, write the vision down, write the goals down, have a vision board, and worked on my vision board. And as a result, it was very easy for me to achieve goals. And first year I achieved a lot, second, third, and after 5 years I had a lot of things, more than what I lost. And I looked at some people in this life that are struggling to achieve goals. You know, when the year starts, we write goals, we write resolutions. In the middle of the year, when you look back, you realize that you did not even achieve anything. And you push yourself to say, towards the end of the year, I'll achieve anything. And you still struggle. So because I did not struggle in my case, I have used those secrets in this book just to share with the world on how to achieve goals. From January to December, you focus on your life and work towards achieving goals. So those are the things that I have put in the book, including that as a person, you can live a purposeful and meaningful life. Every day of your life, you live it towards the goal that you have set for yourself. Because we set beautiful goals for ourselves, obviously the kind of life that we live, it will be a meaningful life. So basically it's about that. So mainly this is what has inspired me to write the book, to say, you know what, let me share with the world on how to re-establish a relationship with yourself. Do the self-care, do the self-love, the self-empowerment that will help you to live a purposeful life that you want to achieve. So I got inspired from my personal experience, and I am just highlighting that in the book to say this life has beautiful things and everyone has a story. Today I tell my story. I tell my story in a book that I have experienced that stigma that us as African females sometimes we have to go through. Sometimes we go through divorce, and we know divorce has its stigma. Some people call a person who is divorced certain names. And when I looked at myself as an African female, for that matter, when you get married, you go to the in-laws, and when you divorce, sometimes circumstance force you to go back to your mom. That itself is a stigma, and I had to rise up out after having to experience that part of emotional draining of this particular stigma, and said, you know what, I now look myself at myself as an individual and not a divorcee. The other thing is that I then became a single parent, of course, because I separated from my husband. So in that regard, also being a single parent has its own stigma. And I had to look at myself and said, you know what? I am an individual, and I'm not going to attach myself to either a marital status or to have or not to have children. I'm not going to name myself as such, but I'm going to name myself as an individual, as a motivational speaker, as an author. So in that regard, I was able to be who I am today, and I'm comfortable with the kind of life that I am living now, and I want to achieve more goals, of course, in this life, because there is hope. One of the things is that the writing part was not so easy. It was not so easy because I never wanted to be out there as a divorcee. So in a process, then that I explained that I had to go back and stay with my mom. But at some point, I had to move and relocated to another province or another city. In that regard, I had to start my life from zero scratch. So when you start your life in an environment where people do not know you, some people will just read you and think either you are married, you are single, whatever they want to attach to you without you having to say anything, particularly when we talk about marital status. So in this regard, when I arrived there, I had to introduce myself as Anna, not even attaching myself to anything. And at that time, I had to see where I can introduce myself to just tell people what has happened to me. But at least because I'm a church person, I was able to get some slot where I got a support group where I was able to share that I am a person who has divorced. So in a way, I was not really open about it. So having to write this book, I had to open about it. So it was not an easy process at all. I remember the first manuscript, I had hidden a lot of things. I was not open about a lot of things because I was afraid that I'll be judged. I was afraid that what will people think of me, because now I don't seem like I had a bad experience in the past. Now I'm like this person who is always bubbly, who is always active, who doesn't even complain about anything. So if people read that I once divorced, how are they going to take me? So that was a process, and I got to a point wherein I had to reflect. I had to do the introspection and accept that this is the situation and this is the story that can help another woman to say, as a person, as a woman or as a man, you can get divorced or you can lose your loved one, but you can still pick yourself up, live your life the way you want to live it. So basically, I even got to that point where I realized that I am currently healed. It's about 5 years that we separated with the husband, and I had to live that life of grieving about it. And when I wrote this book, I realized that it is much better now. I am healed. And in the book, this book is not about the divorce, but it's about motivation of how to take your life to another level, how to take yourself and prioritize yourself. How do you make sure that you become the first person in your life? It's about how do you set direction for your life as an individual. It's about motivation, but because it's a motivation from a person who had had a bad experience related to divorce, I have highlighted it. But mainly this is a self-help tool to help somebody. There's a chapter where I talk about understanding your personal SWOT analysis. We normally know about SWOT analysis in the organizations. We do the SWOT analysis, but sometimes in our own lives we don't check our own strengths, our own weaknesses, and the opportunities that are around, and the threats that are around that would be a barrier for us to achieve goals. There's also a chapter that I love where I talk about balancing your own life. That as a person, you need to balance your spiritual life. As a person, you need to balance your health, your family life, all the areas of your life, your career, your social life, your community life, your fun life. You need to all balance and give them an attention. So basically, this is a motivational tool to help somebody live a wonderful life that they want to achieve. And in terms of my publication process, this is a self-publishing book, and it has not been very difficult because I had a team that came through for me. At the time when I was supposed to publish it, then it was difficult because I wanted to understand the processes, the pros and cons. And at that time, I was able to get hold of a book coach. So I've got a book coach. His name is Abel Baloi. So he coached me, and he was the one who was able to bring the team together. The team of proofreaders, editors, graphic designers, layout, typesettings, printing. He's the one who has organized that. So that group itself played a role in this book. The other person who also played a critical role was my editor, who saw my manuscript and realized that this is a great tool and the world needs to hear about this. And she worked very hard day and night. I remember she had a lot of pressure day and night to get this book to be what it is today. I am grateful to Tintswalo Christian Kuna. She's the lady who has edited the book, and the book is what it is because she has been there and saw a potential of what it can change to people. So I am grateful that I was not really alone in the process. There were people who were there. And it has 7 chapters. The first chapter is about the backdrop. That's the background. The second chapter is about re-establishing a relationship with your life. The third chapter, it talks about the importance of understanding your power as a person. The fourth chapter talks about conducting your SWOT analysis, personal SWOT analysis. The fifth chapter talks about setting a vision for your life, setting a direction for your life. The sixth chapter, it talks about bringing synergy to your life. How do you bring those components and aspects of your life together and make sure that you balance all of them, you give all of them attention. And then the seventh chapter is the main chapter that talks about how do you set, how do you implement, and achieve those goals, because most of the time we set goals and sometimes it's difficult either to implement or to achieve goals. So seventh chapter gives those secrets of how do you achieve those goals, and make sure that you set more and more goals, and you don't even forget to celebrate yourself. Once you achieve a goal, you need to make sure that you celebrate yourself and you set another goal. So basically that's about it. And the other thing is that what has surprised me in terms of the reception of this book, it's the moment I talked about the launching of the book, when I set my first advert out there in the social media. I received a positive reception from people, the readers. I could not believe it. People were happy about the book, were happy about the title itself and what the book is all about, and they were looking forward. And at that time, the book was not yet there. It was we were planning, and we were advertising for a book launch that is coming. And at the time, people booked the tickets, and I was so happy. In my book launch that I had in Gauteng province, South Africa, in Pretoria, I had a lot of people. I signed a lot of books. My book launch was very full and people were very happy, and I loved the reception. From there, people started recommending me, and I had a lot of referrals from the people that bought the book. At the moment, the book is about 5 months or so. It should be 5 months. I launched it the first time. I launched it in March, and then the second time I launched it in June. Why I launched it twice, it is because currently I stay in Pretoria, and my hometown is in Limpopo province. So I had to go to Limpopo province in South Africa and had to launch the book again. So March, April, May, June, July, August. So it's about 5 months. But I had a lot of radio stations, slot interviews. I had a lot of seminars that I went to advise people on so many things. For an example, currently I'm having a slot to talk about multiple streams of income, which is also covered in the book. I had a slot where I was talking about establishing a relationship with yourself or maintaining a relationship with yourself. I had a slot where I was talking about having to understand your scan, personal SWOT analysis. You scan your own life. So I had different platforms. Sometimes I would be called just to talk about the book itself. So I had a lot of interaction with so many people, and a lot of people, of course, and I had to sign books. So I am grateful with how people have received it. This is one of the platforms that will help me to get to people and explain that this is possible. It is doable. I have done it. Today, I have a story that I share with people, but that story is about helping one to pick themselves up, to get to a point where they are absolutely happy, live a stress-free life, because that's what we are working for. That's what we want to achieve. We want to achieve that life where you are worried about nothing. You live that particular life, and you are able to see things that are happening around, and you're just watching them, and none of those things come closer to you because you have built a wall yourself, and you have created this world for yourself. And all the secrets are found in this book. And I want to read one of the paragraphs that I love in the book, and I'm going to refer this paragraph to or I'm going to read it from the first chapter, which is a background, and it's on page 21 of Bringing Synergy to Your Life. And I say, with my story, I hope to inspire people who are facing adversity to believe that they can overcome it. as a person, you don't have to be depressed, discouraged, or hopeless for the rest of your life, for there is hope. While you are grieving, please do not do so indefinitely, because there are others that are waiting to hear from you. Let's try everything we can hang on to pick ourselves up, to shake off the dust and move forward with a compelling story. A compelling story that will help us and others there in the future. So this is found in this book, and it's one of the paragraphs that I love, to say there is hope in this life. Don't just be there alone. Just know that there is hope and there is support system out there. One of the support systems is this book. Get it for yourself. Get time. Read it. I understand your life will never be the same. I am saying this because even today, sometimes when I feel low or discouraged by any circumstance, I go back to it, I read it, and afterwards I get so revived. And I say, I can still make it. The last thing is that, and I mentioned in this book, that giving up is not in our vocab when we bring synergy to our lives. So you don't even think at some point that you will give up, no matter how difficult a situation is. You need to devise means to ensure that you work hard and make sure that you win that battle. You don't give up. You don't give up. We live like eagles. So get bringing synergy to your life and see how eagles lives. Even during a storm, an eagle go up high, so up high. Storms do not disturb an eagle. So in this life, there's a lot of hope. There's a lot of hope. And the world doesn't end the time when you face a difficult situation. There is still tomorrow. There is still tomorrow. So let's go out there, live our lives, bringing synergy to our own lives on daily basis. We live synergy on daily basis. And I hope to see you one day, to talk to you in person, to talk to you online, just to reach out so that we can discuss these things and see how easy it is to achieve the goals of your life.